Startup Juncture here at the Web Summit 2013. We're here with Robert Scoble. Robert Scoble, it's a pleasure to have you here with us.
Hey, thanks.
Thank you making for time for us.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. It's a great conference. I mean, 10,000 people here celebrating startups and entrepreneurialism.
To shoot off with the first question, a couple of friends of ours were wondering, and we were wondering if you would be, if you're maybe some kind of Android from the future with the Google Glass on and so on. Could you say something about that?
No, at Rackspace, I'm paid to study the future, right? And they want me to see where the future is coming from. And this is certainly futuristic. It's a Google Glass. It's a wearable computer. It has a screen, that I can turn on and see things in it. And it has a sensor pad here. And it's the first consumer electronics gadget that knows where I'm aiming. So the sensors are firing as I look around and where my eye's looking. And so far, we haven't seen a lot of software that uses that yet. I think next year, when they actually ship to the public, we'll see a lot more. But I'm quite excited by it. It's a really neat gadget that a lot of people like. But it is a very controversial gadget.
Okay. The more serious question about you wearing Google glasses all the time is do you see yourself as some kind of beacon of light for the more normal or mortal people to beacon of light into the future?
I'm not a futurist really, and I'm not a visionary. I hang out with some people who are visionaries, like Doug Engelbart, right, who invented the mouse and really showed the world in 1969 what the modern computer would look like. He really saw way into the future beyond what he could even build, right? That I'm not that guy, and all I am doing is studying the bleeding edge of the consumer world and understanding where that edge is. And I'm just early. So, I was one of the first few thousand people on Twitter, for instance, and now there's 200 million people or 300 million people on it. And it's now a public company, or it will be in a week or so. I was early on Facebook. I was one of the first 80 people on Instagram. Now there's 300 million people on Instagram. It's not that I'm a visionary. I'm not a builder. I'm not a software builder. But I study the people who do build things, and I want to be there at the first opening day.
But apparently you have some kind of sixth sense or some kind of sense of what the future is going to bring for us.
Yeah, my dad was an engineer, and I grew up in Silicon Valley, and I don't know that it's a sixth sense. It's just I see a lot. I don't get it all. I didn't see Pinterest, right? I didn't see Snapchat, so I don't see everything, and I don't figure it all out. But I see so many things. Like yesterday, I got pitched by 40 different startups, and this afternoon I'm judging the finals here at Web Summit. So I see so much stuff that it's easy for me to pick out the ones that I think are going to go on and be an interesting company for people.
The startup scene in the Netherlands, it's quite good at the moment. It's becoming more and more interested. It's flourishing, but still it's lagging quite a lot behind Silicon Valley. So I don't know if you have some opinion or maybe advice for us how we could somehow build, for example, the pay-it-forward mentality and those kind of things.
Yeah, I tell countries around the world, don't get into a pissing contest with Silicon Valley, because Silicon Valley had a lot of military investment. My dad worked on missiles at Lockheed, right? And Hewlett-Packard started out building oscilloscopes for the military, right? Really, is what was going on. And they're still doing really hardcore science there. The Stanford Linear Accelerator is a $500 million machine. You're probably not going to have a $500 million machine to attract scientific people to your local community. So don't get in a pissing contest with Silicon Valley. Figure out how to take advantage of the new trends, which is it's far cheaper today to build a company than it was. So you don't need to go to Silicon Valley and collect money. Many more kids are into technology today. and understand how to program computers. So there's a lot more talent that's distributed around the world, even though some of the high-end talent still is in San Francisco or concentrated in San Francisco or Austin or someplace like that. PR is a little bit tougher because a lot of the media companies are located in San Francisco. TechCrunch and Bloomberg and VentureBeat and GigaOM, they're all in San Francisco. So you have to probably go visit San Francisco to do a press tour and get your product out there.
So for European startups, for PR purposes, they should actually go to Silicon Valley.
If you're building a world brand, and I assume most of the companies here are trying to build a world brand, not a company that just serves the local city or the local state, right? If you're trying to build a brand that everybody knows, like Facebook, you really do need to come to San Francisco, because if you don't get San Francisco, you don't get the world, right? It really is that strong. But that's pretty well known. I live in my studio's in San Francisco, so people come from around the world to go to conferences there, like the Apple events or the Google events or the Facebook events, right? And that's pretty common. What was the third thing? So there's money, there's talent, PR, and then there's a cultural thing. Now the cultural thing,
The pay it forward method.
well, it's not just that. It's you see more of these early adopter kinds of wearable computers in certain communities, right? Berlin, London, certain neighborhoods in London, certain neighborhoods here in Dublin, certain neighborhoods in New York, certain neighborhoods in Seattle, certainly San Francisco has a lot more of early adopter people who are pushing the edge. And that culture is a breeding ground of companies. It also attracts talent because if you're a 20-year-old programmer and you just are you have some talent, you want to be around other people like that who are building companies and
that have talent themselves.
have talent, and also who are pushing the boundaries of the future, because that's where you get your ideas. If you're using low energy Bluetooth radios to do something new and nobody knows what those are yet, then I'm going to see what you're doing and I'm going to riff on that. I'm going to build them into my own business, right? And
that makes a lot of sense. Very true.
And that's what I would be focusing on, is how do I build the culture of entrepreneurialism, technology, early adopterism, and then you said the pay it forward, the sharing, because that's really strong in Silicon Valley. I mean, we hold hackathons all the time, or meetups, where we train on Node.js, and there's engineers from Twitter and Facebook and Google and all these startups coming, and we all just mix together and we share technical information with each other, and that makes the whole ecosystem stronger. And it also attracts people, because people want to, instead of just going to a bar and talking about sports, they want to go to a thing in the evening where they can talk about technology and make their skills better, right?
One last question. You were at the next web this year in Amsterdam, and you just said behind the scenes that you like Amsterdam a lot. Could you tell us what you like the most?
You're trying to get me into trouble here. No,
I do.
Amsterdam's a beautiful city. I love the canals and walking around. It has a great culture, and let's be honest, there's a little bit of drugs, a little bit of, evening activities, right?
Even Robert Scoble likes those kind of things. Wow.
Of course, and I think that attracts. There's a segment of society of technologists who get attracted to Amsterdam. I know Steve Wozniak, co-founder of Apple, and I said, "Where did you get all your great ideas?" He goes, "Oh, me and Steve Jobs used to go on the beach and smoke dope." And I'm like, okay, but it attracts a certain kind of person, and it's always a fun conference, right? But it's I love just the art there and the culture, and it's a great city to be in.
Okay, Robert, thank you so much for being with us. Thank you.